What we're going to cover in this video is we're going to cover design requirements. This PowerPoint is also on the OneNote under the Design Requirements tab. In every design plan that you write, there are a series of things that you need to do, and these are the design requirements. And what I'm going to cover is I'm going to cover the various requirements that you're going to need to talk about when you're writing your design plans. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about design specifications. Now, design specifications are actually fairly simple. They are what your project is about. There are a series of specifications that you will write that will help define your project. In this slide, you'll see there's a series of boxes. And what they are some of the things that you can think about when you're writing your design specifications. For example, if you look at the box function, it's what the product should do. Aesthetics. Aesthetics is a big word, but it just means how something should look. The environment. All right, what measures can be taken to protect the environment, or also what environment the product is going to be used in. Materials. What's the material? What is your project going to be made of? Performance. How will the project be used, and what will the product have to be? And then finally, the target customer. Who are you making this design for? All right, so here's some examples. These are design specifications for a video, and the video was about sending a message back to 1985. So you notice that I've got 8 different specifications for this. First, what the video be 1 to 2 minutes long. This specifically says how long the video is going to be. Video will send a socially responsible message to 1985. That is what the video is supposed to be about. The video will reflect the input of all members of the group. This is to ensure that everyone in your group works equally. The video will follow the group storyboard. Okay, so essentially a storyboard is a visual plan. And if you remember back to the previous video, we talked about a plan in C, Create. The video will have an introduction, main body, and conclusion, which should be standard for every project. It won't be offensive. The audio will be clear and easy to understand, and the audio and video will be synced together, all right? So those are 8 specifications. What you want to aim for is you want to aim for 6 specifications in each design project. Next, we're going to talk about design success criteria. Now, these are quite similar to specifications, but what these are is what would make your project good or what will make your project a success. Now, there are a couple of easy ones that you can get every single time. The first one is the project met all the design specifications. So if you've completed your project and every single specification that you laid out was met, then obviously the project is a success. The next one, the project met with the expectations of the customer. So remember, you're designing something for someone and they have their expectations. If you meet that, then your project is a success. The project met or succeeded all of the performance criteria. So in certain projects, you will have performance criteria that you have to meet, and if you exceed those, then obviously it's a success. The project was aesthetically pleasing. In other words, the project looked good. The materials functioned as required, so everything worked, and the project performed well in the environment that the customer required. Okay, so these are just some examples. And like specifications, you want to look for 6 of them. The next thing we're going to cover is we're going to cover the design brief. The design brief is a paragraph that you write, and it basically tells the customer what you plan to do for them. There's 4 parts to it. There's the design statement, and it's always the same. I will design, model, and test, or I will design, model, and create, depending on what you're doing. The design problem, what you're going to solve, and then design, model, / make. The constraints, what you can and cannot do. A constraint is something that you either have to do or something you cannot do. The deliverables, what it is and when it's due. So here's the design problem for you. My teacher's desk is a real mess. There are pens, pencils, markers, and erasers and everywhere on the desk. He has asked that the design students design and create a solution for him. The solution must be made with materials in the workshop, and it must be something that can be cut out on the laser so that it's easy to assemble. It has the school logo on one side and a design of your own making on the other. The total cost for materials must be no more than 15 RMB, and it can be no larger than 14 by 10 by 8 centimeters, and he wants to see a working model in 60 days. So there's your design that you're going to solve. So Here is an example of a design brief for that previous problem. I'm going to design, model, and test a new desktop solution for my design teacher in order to organize his messy desk. The model must be made from materials that currently exist in the workshop and cost no more than 15 RMB to build. The organizer must be designed so that it can be used cut on the laser, and the working model must be ready in 60 days. Please note, you don't need to include every single constraint in your design brief, just the major ones, as all of them will be listed in your design specifications. Okay, so every single constraint has to be a specification. All right, critical thinking. Now, if you remember back in the previous video, I talked briefly about critical thinking. This is an area of consistent weaknesses within students' design plan, and it's one of the things that you need to make your marks higher. So what's critical thinking? In the dictionary, it's an objective analysis of something in order to form a judgment. In essence, it's looking at something and then asking questions to get to an answer. Now, for you, the easiest way to think about this is to look at your answers and then ask questions. All right? So if you look at your phone case and you have maybe a black phone case, what does that mean? If I say to you, I want you to design a new phone case, and you go, I will design a black one, so what? The so what is critical thinking. What does that mean if I design a black phone case? Well, that means only people that like black phone cases are going to buy my phone case. So what? Well, then maybe I need to consider designing other colors. So what? Those are just a series of questions you can ask. Now, there's all kinds of them, and if you look at this next slide, here are some examples of some of the questions you can ask. All right, this PowerPoint is going to be in the OneNote along with the other one that I showed you previously. Again, if you have any questions, let me know.